Good morning, everyone. My name's Hank Suttala. I'm the Sonic Shaman, and this is a Coffee Connect. Got Trader Joe's Winter Blend here, also out of one of my very low coffee cups for the German Language School Cleveland. I actually am on the board of directors there. If you have anybody who needs to learn a foreign language, an amazing little institution. We went global because everything's online now. So it doesn't, I told them we have to change the name to German Language School Global instead of just Cleveland because we have students all over the place now, which is amazing. But today, first, let me say, please share the video while I remember to make it public on my Facebook page. If you get value out of these, a way you can kind of do a little bit of INI, divine reciprocity, is to share the video on your page. And it really helps out if you share the YouTube link because the more people watch on YouTube, the more it gets served organically and the more people I can reach. And there is a link to the YouTube link for the stream in the description of the video. So I made it public here. And also, if you ever are making comments and I'm not seeing them, the YouTube stream, I know I'm going to eventually get them. So, anyway, today I'm sharing a little bit of a topic called Your Mess is Your Message, as you can see there. And this is an inspiration from this little boot camp group that I'm in that is helping people to gain confidence and different skill sets around streaming and being on camera and all that. And I kind of forgot about this a little bit because my history, for those of you who don't know, I had a very long run being a professional drinker. I retired in 2006. And sometimes I forget that my roots were in addiction and overcoming addiction. So when they say your mess is your message, one way people really relate to you is by seeing you vulnerable as a human being, seeing, people aren't perfect. I didn't go from drinking Hank, banker Hank, to shaman Hank with the center and everything overnight. It was a long series of events that happened between point A and point B. And even on the stream just a bit ago, we had someone that was kind of in that addiction world, and that right at the same time as we're going over this mess as your message in this boot camp, that was happening, and it kind of brought me back to realizing, part of my message is in fact my addiction and whatnot. So just good morning. This is my brother Phil. Good morning, Phil. Good to see you, sir. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I'm a very interactive streamer. If it's your first time catching the Coffee Connect, you can feel free to make questions or comments, and I'm happy to speak to them and see where the conversation go most of the time. If it's really me focused, meaning like that I can't apply it to everybody who might be watching, I might not go there with the question. But for the most part, I'm pretty interactive as a streamer. Also, I'm not sure if it will be today. I will be on eventually with Ernie. We're going to be doing a whole thing on Hawaiian. I forget. I always mispronounce it. The Hopopono Ono. I know I'm probably close, but we will be doing that soon. Where is my little graphic? I don't have it on this. Oh, I'm not sure where it is. Anyway, I'm in the wrong spot. Here's a little graphic for it. So we're going to be talking on this principle, which is it's not just about saying I love you, I forgive you, etc. It's about the space that you're holding with that, and that's really this like with everything that we're doing when we're being our authentic voice in the world. It is about the space that you're holding, because I don't have a point of view that anybody takes anything I say a certain way or the other. It's just a space that you hold that maybe people choose to pick up what you're saying and maybe they don't, and either way, it's okay. Anyway, another thing that's going to be on a little bit later. I'm not sure the time, probably around 3:30. I connected with this amazing individual. She's my accountability buddy for this boot camp that I'm in, and we're going to be online doing a little presentation and interview back and forth about a thing that we would want to present on media. And so mine is going to be all about New Year's resolutions and how like 80% of people fail at their New Year's resolution, and the whole pitch and the thing that I'll be talking about is how to set not realistic, but different resolutions that are more progress, not perfection, and that can be flexible and move with you, so things are more realistic to achieve. So look forward to that around 3:30. But anyway, to the actual point, your mess is your message. And so from the time that I was could buy alcohol legally, I became a day drinker, drinking all the time, to the point where I would even bring a glass of whiskey in the shower with me. I had a stand-up shower. There's a little shelf in there, and I thought, oh, that's the perfect place to put down a whiskey glass, in the morning while I take my shower to get my first drink in me. That's how professional I was when it came to drinking. And when I finally, it was March 9th or March 8th, 2006, when I just had this simple declaration of will to the universe, just saying, "Help me." That was pretty much the main essence of what I was saying. And it wasn't just, a mental thing, realizing I had a problem. It was like with the entire fiber of my being. And it's the point where a lot of people say you get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I was demanding change to the universe. And change happened. I ended up in IOP, which is intensive outpatient therapy, or program rather, and ended up never touching a drink again. Fast forward about a year after that, I started actually doing my inner work. The first year, I didn't do anything. I was like white knuckling it through the first year. And then I started being able to apply the principles that I was learning, to really have a lot of peace and calm in my day. And at the time, I worked at Bank of America, formerly MBNA, at a call center. And some of the conversations that would occur when I was speaking to people was just, it would blow your mind. It was like during Hurricane Katrina, and a lot of the people calling in that with their stories of losing everything. I was in the financial risk unit. So even before I got sober, like the whole time I'm hearing like every story you could have imagined. I even had one person that sticks out of my mind that just tore me up inside. I had to take risk action on a credit line. Someone was calling in for a credit line increase. And not only did we not give the increase, I had to reduce the credit line because of risk, because of the financial situation. And they said, this was for our medication. You need that. You're killing my father, et cetera. We're going to fax you the death certificate and all this stuff. And they hung up on me. And, if I had not reduced the line and someone listened to it, I would have gotten in trouble. I was doing what I needed to do for my job. And like someone saying that just kind of wrenches your soul in a way. And because that is true, I took this credit line away. And yes, it was a risk to the bank. But what world do we live in that we can't provide, the basic necessities to people, like medication that they need to survive, that is vital for their living, that we're in a situation where they just can't get it and they have to rely on going into debt to get what they need to live. That's a whole nother topic about our world not quite being where it needs to be for things like that. But it was things like that that would just totally wretch me. And that was all contributing to my drinking because I'm very intuitive. And it's not just that I hear the words, I would be feeling the impact that they were having. I'm feeling what they're feeling because of the actions that I'm taking. And that was one reason I medicated so heavily. When I finally got sober and I finally started getting tools to deal with all that stuff, recognizing that the things I was feeling wasn't me, because that's a big awareness, people. If you're an empath, asking the question, is this mine? Most of the time it's not. And when you can start to realize that, oh, the only reason that I'm bringing this in is because I thought it was mine. And two, labeling it. There's a saying, I think I got this from Ryan Dean, if you name it, you claim it. What meaning that if you're aware of something and you judge whatever that is as good or bad, right or wrong, anger, whatever it is, once you've labeled it and you have a judgment assigned to it, it then becomes like it kind of like attracts like, it's kind of magnetically adhering to whatever you hold in yourself that is of a similar energy. And the way around that is just to look at it and go, that's interesting. That's interesting. But I started applying all these things and I went from, the guy at the bank that people really wouldn't think much about, to people coming up to me and asking me for advice, saying that they had certain things going on in their life, because I had healed myself. And I was, just by nature looking to, well, one of the ways they say you stay sober is you give away what you were given. And it wasn't just with addiction. I was getting my own unique, authentic voice in the world. And they actually called me the team healer in this call center. And I was the first person, like if someone was pregnant, for example, because I'm an aromatherapist and I had a thing for nausea, they'll come up and they'll be like, can I get some of that stuff? And it's like, oh, congratulations. And got them the little thing for morning sickness or whatnot. But I went from banker Hank to healer Hank while I was in the bank. And let that be a message to you too, that it's not about what you're doing or where you work or anything like that. When you can step into your own unique, authentic voice, you can be that no matter what your external situation is. And once you can be that in any situation, then you can have your preferred situation. So the banking situation, Bank of America bought MBNA. They eventually closed down the site. And then at that time, the day that the site closed, I went back and on my phone checked the messages, and someone had just posted there was an office space available at Holistic Health Cleveland. It was like $300 a month to rent an office space, and I went into this work full time. Fast forward, now I have a center in North Olmsted. I put on an event, 30,000 square feet for holistic health and healing. And our tagline is psychics to physicians and most everything in between, putting all the tools that anybody could ever want for their own inner path, their own healing work in one place so that they could have access to it. And so that's my message that no matter what darkness you are in, if there's a willingness, you can get out of it. And you don't even need to want it 100%. This is another wonderful thing that came out of this little boot camp training. All you need to do is want it more than you don't. And that is enough to drive the change. They call it the 51% rule. So if with 51% of your being, you are desiring and choosing something more, then that is all that's needed for you to start making the choices that's going to drive that result. But when we hear you have to give 100%, you have to give 110%, sometimes that's too much. And we're so overwhelmed that we can't give 110% that we don't give any. So what if all it would take is 51% of you to want change for you, to want better for you? And how magical would that be? I challenge all of you to do that for your New Year's resolution. And what the only resolution any of us really need is, how could I have more of my authentic me today than I've ever had before? Asking that question every morning. And if you ask that question every morning, you're putting it out to the universe. And what happens? It's going to deliver you opportunities to express that beingness you're doing, because we're human beings, not human doings. Beingness comes first, then doing. And if you can ask the question, what energy could I be to be more me in the world than any day before today? The universe is going to give you opportunities to express that. And once you, believe me, when you start doing that, your whole world changes, because you're starting to co-create with the universe in a whole different way. But if you say, what could I do in order to be me? Now you got it backwards, and you'll never be fulfilled, because you're looking for something outside of yourself in order to be you. And you don't need anything to be you outside of yourself. The beingness comes first. So I see quite a few people watching. Oh, good. Thank you for tuning in, Trisha. My dear Willika Nuna Penny Chai, Sacred Soul Sister on the Path. Mary Lee, good morning. Anybody have questions, comments, anywhere else you'd like me to go with this conversation? We have Anne Marie saying, oh, yes, that is so awesome, Hank. Thank you, Emery, for tuning in. But what questions do you have? Because that's kind of like my rant is over for the Coffee Connect, but I'm happy to see where, if there's anything on your minds where you might want to go with these things. Actually, I'll give you two more things. Two things that you can start to change things if you don't know where to start, if you feel stuck, is asking this question: what else is possible? Use this instead of why. So much of us are in the victim mentality. We say why, and that is a looping question. It creates another cycle of the same energy, and the universe says, here's why. And we get another taste of the same old thing. Instead, ask what else is possible. And then the universe gives you something different. What energy could I be to create something different here? That is the type of question to ask. Not why is this happening? And the universe says, here's why it's happening. Here's another experience of why. So why is a really tricky word. And the other one is, once something shows up that you prefer, then you ask, how does it get any better than this? Whether you just stubbed your toe, or you just won the lottery, you just had a child, or a dear friend passed, you ask, how does it get any better than this? And the universe will put into motion, bringing you an experience to show you. And then that shows up, and you say, how does it get any better than this? They'll feel the difference between how does it get any better than this and it doesn't get any better than this. Always ask the questions in the space of possibility. And they even show on topographical brain mapping how your brain lights up differently asking a question versus doing an affirmation. So pose all the things that you'd like to bring to your life as a question. What energy could I be to create the abundance in my life? What energy could I be to remove the X, Y, or Z of my life? Because it's about the energy of being. And then the other part of it is, where am I not allowing myself to have that? And you identify the second energy. And then using whatever tools you want, access consciousness, Reiki, NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, EFT with the tapping, whatever it is, you look to transmute the stuff that is not allowing you to step into the possibility, and then boom, the magic happens. And Mary Lee is just saying, I have had a similar path. Yep, she's another sacred soul sister. Speaking of, save the date, March 13th. It's my birthday, but that's not why you're supposed to save the date. That is going to be the date of the start of the 2021 apprenticeship program. It's going to be a virtual thing. However, we are planning a week-long retreat that will be in person, COVID allowing. And we're going to design it so that you can just do the in person part, just do the virtual part, or do a hybrid and do both. So we're looking forward to offering that again. Last call for questions, comments, things like that. Ernie, if you're out there, let me know how your internet connection is today and see if we can stream today. If we do stream today, Ernie and I will be on at 11. If Ernie and I don't stream, Casey and I might be on at 11 to do an episode of Stir Crazy Shamans, which is a separate YouTube channel. So please subscribe to both if you haven't already. On this channel, Sonic Shaman, you'll get me, you'll get guests that I bring on like Matthew, Stewart. I have, oh, just wait till you meet Joy. I cannot wait for you guys to experience this amazing individual I met who, well, I'll say the story, but she has a fantastic story and an amazing technique to remove all stress from your life in like 3 minutes or less, because she had to learn it because of an injury. So it's an amazing little story that she has, and I'll be on with her today around 3:30. Don't know if we'll talk about that story because we're doing our boot camp homework. She's my accountability buddy, but we're going to have some fun with that. And Tina Marie saying, good morning, Hank. And nobody's asking a question. So I think I'll go ahead and wrap. I want to thank you all for staying here and watching the video. If you missed part of it and you're going to go back and watch a replay, please start a watch party or watch on the YouTube channel. Make sure you make a like and a comment. Make sure YouTube knows that it's relevant, and then it will serve it up to more people. And together we can help change the world, right? Because that's what it's about. The world's always changing. All we're doing is kind of influencing which direction it's going. So help us influence the world by having more light-based messages out there than heavy-based messages out there, and we can change it one at a time. Anne Marie was saying, some good tips that I'm putting into practice. Small miracles so far, expecting much more. Let me speak to that. In AA, we have the saying, expectations are resentments waiting to happen. What if you just say, how does it get any better than this? No expectation, just a question, how does it get any better? And not putting any sort of form or structure, judgment, or conclusion into what shows up. Because expectations are like handcuffs to the universe. So actualization is that something shows up. How does it get any better than this? Something happens and it shows you. Manifestation is how it shows up. So if we have an expectation of something showing up or showing up in a certain way, it's like saying, universe, I would love abundance, but only in the way of raising my paycheck. And the universe goes, oh man, I'm handcuffed now. I was going to make like the X, Y, or Z happen, but now I got to do it through a raise in the paycheck. So I'm going to arrange this thing. It's going to take a couple years. You're going to get laid off. You're going to look for something better. You're going to find something that pays way more. So the universe always says yes. It may not happen this lifetime, but it's going to happen. But instead of limiting the universe through an expectation or a judgment or conclusion or a projection, we just say, universe, I choose this. I'll let it show up however it comes, and just see the magic that can happen. So I'm glad you mentioned that, because expecting is an interesting little trick word that we want to be very mindful of when we are using it. But what amazing magic is going to happen every day? How much more magic can I have today than I've had in any day before that? Tina says, I need a cheat sheet of all the lovely questions you asked the universe. Your wording is amazing. Good thing it's on a video. You can go back and make a cheat sheet, and then maybe you can share it with everybody. Maybe a little Google Drive doc. We can drop the link in the comments. Yeah, Ernie calls me like a wordsmith, and I don't even think about what I'm saying. It just goes out. So I'm glad I'm doing these live streams now, because I've been able to go back and like listen and like, oh wow, that was good. Or even sometimes I'll say something, and right after that I'm like, thank God I'm recording this, because there's no way I could ever say that again the same way that I just said it. Because really, that's kind of the key to everything. You're allowing life to happen through you instead of to you. And that is where you're not playing the victim anymore. Like, things might happen where you're victimized, but being a victim is a choice. And me and Matthew had a great conversation about that in our last two streams, which if you haven't caught them, Matthew is one of the most authentic people that I've ever met. And we did one talk on trauma and spirituality. And then the second we did is on escapism. And we talk about the difference between victimization and a victim, because something could happen that in our view would be, also understand that in the oneality, there are no victims. It's all experience, which you can choose to label in any way you wish. In the duality, absolutely, we have good and evil, right and wrong, etc. It's more polarities than good and evil, because in the absence of that which you are not, that which you are is not. So if God is all there is all at once, it's through this individualization of divinity experience that we are able to have a a context for being what we are. Anyway, so I'm glad I recorded that too, because I will never be able to repeat that. Maybe not. But anyhow, it looks like other people want the cheat sheet. All right. So now last call for real for questions. Plus my coffee's almost gone, which is kind of the plan. Drink a cup of coffee and have the coffee connect. Except I talk so much it takes me forever to get through a cup of coffee. But for those of you who are coffee drinkers, I'll tell you what, Trader Joe's, the winter blend, amazing. Has a little cinnamon in it, peppercorn, things you would never think to put in coffee, but it is a fantastic little blend. So highly recommend it. Cool. Well, in conclusion, please check out the new Emergence of Being website. Everything that we have coming up is going to be on that site. I'm in the middle of a revamp on my personal site, hanksutala.com. So that's kind of down right now. But if you go up there, it gives you all my Instagrams and things where you can follow me. I've been trying to do a little bit more Instagram, and all the things that I do that are an hour or less, whether they're on this channel or other channels, I do post on Instagram TV. So if you like consuming content through Instagram, you can check out Sonic Shaman. I'm going to eventually go back through the whole archive and upload things. It may take me a while, but I'm trying to stay on top of it for current stuff. So awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you later today at some point, streaming with someone. So if you haven't, subscribe, turn notifications on, and you'll never miss. And one other thing with the Coffee Connect, whenever I schedule them, the time is very variable because I might say 9:15, but if my coffee's done and good to go at 9:08, I will be ready to go. So have your drinks ready if you want to have a morning cup of coffee or tea or whatever you like. Thank you so much, and I will catch you next time.